Welcome. Looks like we are all set up and good to go. So my name is Jared. This is Engineering the Markets. It is May 11th, 2021. Let's go ahead and get right into it. Starting off with our SPY. So we had a pretty active selling day yesterday. Unfortunately, I was not trading intraday, but I could tell just in the theme of yesterday and looking across some of the major items that we like to review, that yesterday was a strong selling day. Not only do we have a complete engulfing pattern up against an all-time high, which is in the short term a sell signal, sort of a first sign that the momentum is starting to shift in the opposite direction. But we have multiple sectors closing or selling off into the close throughout the day. So all of our major sectors are weak on the intraday session, and that's facilitated by technology and discretionaries continuing their downside momentum. So we talked about how this market has been facilitated by sector rotation in a lot of different ways. We have technology coming down while financials are holding. We have healthcare and industrials making new all-time highs. We have things like energy standing out throughout some pullbacks as sort of a decent, strong sector. And essentially yesterday, all of that changed. We had some pretty strong fear-based selling. And what can tip us off to that is things like volatility, which not only elevated itself yesterday and closed near the highs, but we also see this gap up open on volatility, coming essentially into where we were about a week ago when we had our significant tech drop. And that was sort of a liquidation drop in things like the SPY. So notable top in the SPY. We do want to call it out for what it is. And we want to note that intraday, we are looking at a gap up open, or sorry, a gap down open. It's been a while since I've said that, where the SPY not only closed at the lows, but has actually opened lower based on futures activity after hours. So you can see that in things like the ES. Forgive me, my platform's moving a bit slow today. You can see that things like that in the ES continuing to sell off in the after hours and pre-market sessions. So as we get into looking at some opportunity today, we want to see the culprit of some of the strongest selling, which no doubt was the QQQ. And the Qs essentially had some proving to do, where they were holding this double bottom. We can see that pretty clearly on things like the 4-hour chart. A nice double bottom that was set that led to a range breakout to the upside back into our upper range. And essentially, in order for them to prove it to us, we wanted them to hold in the support zone that has shown itself to be support in the past. And the bulls did not do that. So the thesis that we were looking at for continued upside momentum is essentially that thesis did not pan itself out, and the opposite occurred. Now, obviously, the momentum was quite strong yesterday. We couldn't have foreseen this amount of selling. I would say ultimately a back test of this double bottom would have been a likely target if you fail to expand outside of your range. But not only did you achieve that target if you did take a short, but you got additional downside if you still have a position. And ultimately, the Qs did fail to hold. So now we are simply looking at the next spot that we may expect a reaction in this market. The 4 hour is actually a better place to look. So let's go ahead and keep it there. And what we're essentially looking at is this market was able to clear not only this double bottom, but also that notable 325 level. So this did not hold, or these areas did not hold. They did not react strongly. And this so far has not held. So we are starting to really get some downside momentum in the Qs. I would say that in recent past, we did have some value set here. This was sort of a bull flag that led to a breakout. We will see today as we come into this area, can the market react in such a way to at the very least get us a return back in sort of a bounce fashion and potentially back test where we came from and where we expected the market to hold. So on the downside, you know, if you're positioned short, congratulations for one, and two, you want to be looking at targets based on previous history, because ultimately there are still going to be reactions both to the top side and to the bottom side, ultimately trying to protect your downside profits while potentially also taking the return back up. So obviously remaining flexible in a volatile market, looking for opportunities in both directions. And finally, the IWM. We were postulating the idea that the IWM had a nice reaction at an area of support. We had trendline support and also a pennant breakout backtest. So this area was a proving ground for the bulls. And we essentially stated that if you were aggressive, you may have gotten some follow through. But ultimately, this was not a confirmed bullish setup. It was just an aggressive entry based on a single data point. And with the entire market selling yesterday, that is now obviously at risk. I would say that ultimately this aggressive entry is no longer in play based on the fact that we did break through it in pre-market. So once again, the potential downside is here because a lot of these continuation bullish setups have failed. So now we are seeing bears really start to take control of both IWM, which for the most part has been consolidating for multiple months. We've seen the Qs continue to be the weakest sector, and essentially the bulls did not prove it on the bounce attempt. And now the SPY is seeing some of that downside. When you look at the SPY, one of the reasons why it did not hold in some of the selling is based solely on some of the largest sectors that the SPY is comprised of. So for those who are unfamiliar, if we look at the SPY composition, we note that some of our largest sectors in the SPY are things like information technology, healthcare, and consumer discretionary. We also have some decent weight in financials and communications, and then the list goes down from here. So top 3 and top 5, you certainly want to see tech be strong for a strong market. But if you don't have tech in play, you pretty much want to see everything else strong or holding to facilitate upside movement. What changed yesterday is that no longer was true. If we look at things like financials, which has been one of our strongest overall sectors, we saw the potential for a sell signal and some of the downside starting to perpetuate itself into financials. If we look at industrials has the exact same relative chart, potential sell signal and downside momentum at the highs. We know that tech is weak. Tech is continuing to be weak and could not facilitate the bounce. We could not get into this upper range, and the downside momentum continued. Things like staples, one of the sectors that's come up on the radar, starting to break into a new range. Not necessarily a sell signal, but definitely seeing some of that weakness. And the list goes on. Energy, sell signal at the previous relative high. Consumer discretionaries, similar to tech, but holding a little bit better than big tech. Things like Apple, Microsoft, and Visa. We're seeing downside momentum. Once again, could not get into this upper range and could not facilitate the momentum that we've been seeing in the past. You can see those two ranges fairly clearly based on just some general horizontal trend lines. And then finally, healthcare, second largest sector in the SPY, very strong in recent history. In fact, continuing the bullish trend, just like financials and industrials. But once again, sell signal, potential reversal in the short term, and this is going to lead to consolidation over the next couple of days if this is truly the short-term top for these sectors. So overall, we were anticipating this potentially happening, and this is the first time we've seen it in quite a while. You have to understand that markets do not typically sell off hard unless everything is selling at the same time. Normal market conditions will see some sectors be strong and some sectors be weak, or in really strong days, you will see all sectors correlated to the upside. But in that same premise, if all sectors are correlated to the downside, especially the ones that have been strong, then you need to be prepared for a full downside trend day in the market. And we did see that yesterday. Now, the question is, will this continue? Is this something that is more of a 1 day to 2 day event, sort of a general flush of some of the momentum-based trading that we've been seeing in the markets, which ultimately can reverse on a dime and lead to, some sort of strong reactionary bounce? Or was that, a very significant top? Ultimately, no one can say that at this time. What we are trying to do here is find opportunity amidst the volatility. And for today, definitely want to be prepared for a volatile session, because once again, volatility is elevated with things like the VIX opening on a gap up and actually continuing the upside. What this means is that there is hedging activity going on, and that hedging activity is continuing and actually building upon itself. So people are paying higher and higher prices for short-term volatility. That volatility will lead to markets having range expansion, and typical technical analysis tends to either fail in the short term or just have a lot of false signals, because at the end of the day, the people who are controlling the price action do not care about levels. What they care about is hedging their portfolio until the point where it is no longer at risk to them. So think about a large fund, think about institutional players. There are computer programs that are built to sell into selling, to hedge long positions, and essentially to perpetuate downside movement until there is no more risk to that institution's holdings. And this is going to continue in the short term until we see a large change. Typically, you will see maybe a large value zone get built in the form of a very tight range, and then a breakout of that range, sort of our reversal signals. Think about like a W bottom, some sort of double or triple bottom inside of the SPY and the Qs. Or the way this changes in the short term is capitulation. And what capitulation is when you have the selling pressure or the upside pressure, but we'll talk about selling in the case of today. The selling pressure gets to the point where the balance shifts significantly from selling to buying. And we will see this as traders in the form of accelerating downside volume. So think of like every 5-minute candle, higher and higher selling volume, lots of trending candles with large bodies, and basically opening and closing, at the high and at the low respectively. So just lots of downside momentum leading into some sort of reversal structure. Think of a pin bar, think of some sort of a false breakdown structure, and you will see high volume in that area, indicating that the scales in the short term are potentially shifting to facilitate a bounce. So this is a great trade setup if we see capitulation today, because not only can you ride some of this downside momentum to the point where you're basically extracting all of the range that is possible, but if we do get capitulation, you can potentially exit or profit from your downside and then ride the upside momentum in the same fashion with a very clear risk definition. And ultimately that volume should facilitate some sort of 50% or 61.8% retracement based on the structure of the downside move. So definitely opportunity today, but what is key is that volatility has risen. It is important to note that today is going to be challenging for those who are used to tight risk definition and basically used to a market that rewards buying certain dips. Ultimately, this market does not need to capitulate today. Today or yesterday could have been the start of something much bigger. So we need to, once again, stick to our rules as traders and understand that this market is going to do whatever it wants to do until it is done hedging. And this is going to be a very key note today, as if you were someone who was trying to catch the dip yesterday, you likely did not make good profits, or you potentially had a red day yesterday. That is normal. This market has been rewarding a lot of dip buying activity. And at this point, there comes a day when things change. The scales shift into the bears camp, and that momentum does not lead to a bounce. Ultimately, it did not even lead to some sort of recovery, as most of our sectors closed at the low of the day. Hence why averaging down is such a dangerous and frowned upon activity. You never know when these days will occur. And when they occur, if you are not prepared, if you're not looking across the board and saying, wait a minute, everything is down at the same time, all of our strong sectors are actually starting to sell and turn around. Technology is not there. Volatility is rising. All these red flags, if you're still building along and expecting it to be a day trade, you are in trouble. And this is key. Hopefully no one got into that position yesterday, but it's worth mentioning because at the end of the day, there is a high likelihood that someone got hurt yesterday based on the selling that we saw. There was no recovery, no bounce, and we closed at the lows of the day. It is so important to protect yourself as a trader, whether you're taking reversals or dip buys or just a long bias trader in general, because this market has been so bullish. Always remember that this market does not necessarily care about technicals in the midst of strong fear-based selling. All of our levels, all of our concepts, they go out the window whenever people are trying to protect their institutional money and hedge their risk to the downside. It all goes away. So keep that in mind. I'm pretty passionate about this. You can tell in the tone of my voice. You can tell in the things that we're talking about today. It's the first time we've seen it, so it's the first opportunity I get to really sort of hound on it. But treat this as if it is the most important business you've ever taken on. Understand that there is risk out there. The market is not your friend, as Carlos has mentioned in our chat. Essentially, you're here to take setups, you're here to define your risk, you're here to manage your profits, and ultimately to stay in this game so that you can become successful as a trader. When we see days like yesterday, note that this market is able to turn on a dime, and ultimately in a bullish market, we can have downside days like this with no issues, no technical reason for it, no news. We don't even need a catalyst. That's the key. Some people look to the news source and say, what's causing all this? Why is the market down so heavily? Doesn't really matter. As traders, we certainly want catalysts to trade, but there doesn't have to be a reason. The market simply does what it wants to do based on risk parameters and statistical analysis from large money participants, so large market participants. So anyway, that's the high horse. I'm getting down from it. Let's take a look at where we can find some opportunity today. I would say that the dollar is still in a super weak position. So I'm still looking at some of our key metal plays. We have things like gold. You can see I've defined some of these upper resistance zones. We're certainly getting into a potential resistance area. So if you're more short-term trading, definitely look to take some profit into things like the daily 200 moving average. We have things like this upper channel line coming to meet the price. And then we have some reactionary points in time where the market did have significant bounces and follow through. So if you're long gold and this is more of a general swing or just a core position, nothing wrong with protecting some profits and potentially looking at this zone as a profit zone for your successful trade. I would say similar to that silver, if gold is going to react, I expect silver to have a reaction as well. We have seen a little bit of a lackluster performance from silver. Gold has been more of a standout, and I think a better overall continuation move from those downside ranges. But silver has certainly moved higher, and if you're looking to take some profit, this is definitely not a bad area to consider based on previous price action. We're still looking at crude and natural gas. And both of these sectors are down today. I think overall with the market conditions being weak, we certainly want to keep in mind that crude is trying to come back and test this previous high. We're in this nice channel structure as we're building some energy back up, but this could easily be the potential of a lower high. Ultimately, I'd like to see this channel break down to confirm that sort of weakness. But at this time, things are holding up okay. We have the 20 and the 50 daily moving averages to facilitate some of that. And natural gas is fairly flat. Ultimately, we're holding this upper range. Definitely want to see some sort of reaction if the market were to bounce or capitulate in any sort of fashion today. Let's see, XLM, I'm getting XLM. That is not one that I'm able to search on this platform. Just trying to confirm. Yeah, so Peter, unable to search for that one. Maybe give me another ticker if you have it. But so, the opportunity still persists in things like metals. Still looking at oil, natural gas, sort of energy plays to get that recovery. And at the end of the day, when you think about what has actually occurred in financials, industrials, and things like healthcare, sure, we have a short-term sell signal. These markets are extended. If you look at something like XLF, if you look at the weekly, we know where we are in these charts. We know things are overblown to the top side. So this was essentially riding that momentum until it stops. And in the short term, this is a sell signal. We want to take note of it and we want to respect it. If you are bullish, you're looking at selling into strength. And if you're bearish, you're looking at this as an aggressive entry to hedge or potentially protect your downside with some sort of strategy that you may have employed. Now, at the end of the day, though, this is just a new high in a strong sector that has gotten stronger. So as we sell through, and if this is a short-term top, we will be looking for bounces. You know, this trend can easily continue. But as we look at things like RSI, if we want to look at things that are extended, yes, the weekly RSI is highly extended. We have seen points in the past where RSI gets to these levels and the market starts to roll over. So is it a short-term top? Yes. Do we want to look for bounces? Absolutely. If that bounce does not facilitate a new all-time high, we want to consider that this is starting to roll over. And until that happens, we need to remain aware that this market has bullish and bearish sectors across the board. There's opportunity in multiple areas to consider trades, whether they be short-term or long-term, and also to protect yourself in the event that this is the potential of a larger top in the market. We don't want to call that until it happens, but we do want to look for opportunity in both directions. That's the key. So let's see, as we look at some of the chat and some opportunities, I think the last thing I want to mention is, I'm gonna start here. In a weak market, we have seen some sectors really start to sell from their pretty much their all-time highs. And what we have not seen yet is a rotation back into these previous strong sectors, which simply means that we're not at the right point to find the right type of buyer to get the reaction that we need to set up a trade. One thing that I'm still looking at is some of our weakest sectors that have not bounced. These could be sectors, these could be industries, basically things that have had a bullish move in the past and have been consolidating for months. So things like XBI. Yes, XBI has topped. The pullback has been significant, but we are coming into areas of interest that the market has broken out from the past. We've seen short-term levels fail, and this has been recent price action that was not strong enough to hold against the selling momentum to the downside. But as we are looking at a strong sector that has been selling for months, we simply want to keep in mind that this could change short term and could easily lead to the sort of potential that we want as a swing or a day trader. So as this market is looking to sell today, if we get capitulation, we also want to see what sectors react the best. And it could either be our strong sectors getting that nice bounce follow through on a pullback, or some of our weakest sectors into major support zones that we haven't seen for the past 6 months. And this could be things like XBI. This could be things like MSOS and the MJ sectors, both of which have not really seen a ton of follow through, but have also not lost a ton of support in recent history. This could be things like solar, which continues to be a weak sector getting weaker. We have not really seen a nice bounce follow through, and ultimately this has been short-term trading only with the lack of upside. And yeah, I'm not going to look at semiconductors. That's going to sell with technology. So ultimately, still looking for opportunity alongside. Just keep in mind that there are things we haven't looked at recently. If we see good reactions, we could start to maybe look at some more aggressive entries, maybe scaling into some of that weakness and allowing for the market to facilitate a extended downside bounce in the markets that are the weakest, or in our strong sectors, just a pullback in the overall bullish trend, both of which provide opportunity. It depends on your style as a trader and your risk tolerance, overall. So with that said, this is Engineering the Markets. My name is Jared. I know there's a lot of stuff that's selling and likely to continue. Just keep your wits about you today. Stay safe, trade with rules. Do not let this market take away profits that you've worked so hard to earn in the course of one session. It happens so often, and we need to be cognizant that this market is willing to sell into selling. That can continue for a long time until we get the right stuff to make the bounce. So stay safe, trade safe, and I'll talk to you tomorrow.
All right. Good morning, everyone. Welcome to the pre-market prep. I hope everyone's having an amazing morning. Hope you had a great day yesterday. Good morning, Norm. How are you doing today?
Better than our gapping down list. How are
Yes,
you, bud?
doing good, man. I'm looking at this list and I'm doing all right.
Lone Triple D up there is diners, drive-ins, and dives is killing it with the 5%, 5.2% gap up. Our lone gap up stock, and we've got long down list.
Absolutely, guys. So it
Flavor
definitely will
Town is
be,
where it's at, I guess. Yeah, you're right,
yeah,
Marvin.
yeah. Will be interesting today. Jared went through a lot of great information about this market and what we're seeing. So let's make sure we give him a thumbs up, guys, for all the information he's providing every single morning. So thank you, Jared, for that. Yeah, let's we'll definitely get into this. Let's look at some of the stuff we had yesterday. As you know, major sell-off. So a lot of the stocks that were on our list show that sell-off type. What happens to the gappers list? Did it refresh here or something? Um, Interesting. My gappers list just went blank on the downside. Anybody else having the same issue?
No, mine's still there.
Oh, it
It's
just
six
came back.
miles long.
It just came back. All right, here it is, guys. Let's look at X on our watch list yesterday. It has been trading so well over the last couple of days. We've seen some good intraday action. Yesterday, we saw a little pop here playing against this level 28.92. That was the high of the pre-market here. Really got above that pretty well. Did give you a nice continuation early on. Then from there, tapped out at 29.88. Another level we had from our daily. Comes right to that level, then slams down back to this 28.92. So a couple of plays here you could have taken on X. It was very clean. The price action very nice there. They try to get going again towards that 29.88. Could not. Slams down again to this 28.92. And then from there, we had the sell-off coming in late in the afternoon here. Yesterday in the trading, you can see the sell-off. You're going to see this little drop here on a lot of the stocks we had on the list yesterday. INO, guys, got the drop going very early on. They try to recover a little bit. Again, you got this kind of a double top type plays on a lot of the stocks. And then from there, you have the sell-off coming down as well. So again, very similar chart to what we're going to see here in the few coming up here. OCGN, on the other hand, guys, this was very strong. Held the moving averages, held the VWAP, the 9 here, and just took off very nice. It was a struggle at first. It did not look like it was going to be strong. You had this very strong engulfing pattern here off the bat. You did get a small continuation down here, breaking down towards specifically right to the T, the low of the pre-market, 862. So that was an amazing play there on OCGN. It does give you a very beautiful reversal, V-reversal, back towards VWAP. I always say, you know, those V-reversals are not easy to trade, guys. Double bottoms are a little bit easier because you just don't know. It's very hard to tell, is this going to be a bounce or are we just getting a pullback to continue on a downtrend? So not easy to get into those trades, but you do get some great support here at the moving averages. And again, another trade that was difficult to kind of believe and trust, given that everything else was selling down, right? So not easy to do that when everything else is kind of going into the tank here. I want to say Oxy was also very good, guys. Did get a pop here, could not hold, sold off for the entire day. Did get choppy all mid-morning to mid-afternoon. Just nothing good here into a drop-off later in the afternoon. VTRS was probably the worst thing we had on our list yesterday. This thing, I hope nobody touched this. It was just horrible. And if you did, I hope somehow, some way, you came out green on this one. It was just nasty, just chopping around all over the place. Andrew talked about this one at the market open as well, how the price action was just not clean, regardless of how much volume they were pushing around. You really were not getting a good price action on a VT RS yesterday. And then Apple just overall following the market, guys. We had a nice big drop off later in the afternoon here. And then this mid-morning, early morning into middle of the afternoon, just pure chop on a lot of stocks, just kind of waiting to see what's going to happen with the market. We never did get a clean bounce or anything like that. It was a complete sell-off. And we're seeing that today, obviously, in our gapping down list. So that's what we had yesterday. Norm, give us a little update of coming up this week on the SPY.
Yeah, man. Just, I mean, we are very weak this morning. Obviously, Nasdaq down 2%, which has been leading the drop. The tech-heavy Nasdaq there, and then 1.2% on the SPY. I think the big number, Artie, who is part of PCT and handles some of the longer-term stuff, and is the investment growth analyst over there, pointed out that. We've got CPI tomorrow. So those inflation numbers, I think, are going to be really what people are watching. And I think some of the sell-off is in anticipation of that. So that having been said, we'll see how this goes. Jared outlined some great info this morning. We've got job openings at 10 a.m. and we've got a slew of Fed speakers throughout the day. Like every hour and a half, a different Fed president is speaking. So, if that'll move anything anywhere, who knows? It's usually not that big of a deal when they give these speeches, but right now is kind of an interesting point when people are watching what they're going to do, if they're going to be forced to raise rates early or so on. So let's see where it goes, buddy.
Yep, absolutely, guys. Let's get right into it, guys. We have a whole lot today. Let's look at DDD here because it's the only one in the green so far this morning. They are up 6%, 343,000 shares traded. For the most part, it's not a good one, guys. This one does not trade very well. The action on this one could be very spotty, and also the volume is very, very light. We talk about these stocks that barely get above 10 million shares traded in an entire day, even with some movement. Usually their price action is not clean. So DDD, good pop after hours. This was earning yesterday, Norm, you mentioned? Or
DDD, yeah, they had earnings.
Earnings, yeah. So earnings yesterday, this pre-market action, guys, does not look great. It is very choppy. You do have 352,000 shares traded. But again, just look how this is trading for the most part, not looking very
Carlos
good.
dissing Flavor Town there.
What was that?
Carlos is dissing Flavor Town.
So it is just not great, guys. We'll see. Hey, listen, it's the only one in green today. So who knows? Let's make some rows in here, guys. Let's see what's gapping down. We're not going to get through this entire mile-long list here of what's gapping down. I'm going to look at the top probably 8 or so, maybe top 10 if we can get to them pretty quickly. And then we'll stop there. Today's going to be a day where we can watch Apple. We can watch maybe one of the big coins, maybe one of the travel stuff. Just things that are really just down right now, maybe for a bounce. But overall, I'm going to keep a close eye on the SPY this morning. VUZI today dropping down 23%, leading the way of the entire gappers down list. So I think this will be a good one. 408,000 shares traded right now. This thing has been getting hammered. And now, obviously, is there anything else going on besides just overall market dump here?
Yeah, I mean, a lot of these leaders, they had earnings last night. So a lot of these that are leading the gap down are weak market growth stocks, but on top of that had earnings or another catalyst too. So that's what we're seeing there, VUZI amongst the others.
All right, so VUCI, guys, it's down quite a bit. Definitely going to add this one on here. Has great volume, down 23%. We do have shares for sure. A little bit light on the volume for the most part, slightly above 5 million looks like. Let's see if today we could be the difference in as far as intraday trading here. JMIA, this is one that we looked at quite a bit in the past. Today they got great volume, and 1 million shares traded right now. They're down 21%. This morning, so it could be very, very interesting. Again, this one could move very well. A little lighter on the volume the last couple of months, hasn't really done much, but we've seen this one do okay in the past. So we'll keep it on here. Pre-market
earnings as well.
They did excellent. Pre-market looks very, very good though. This move here in the pre-market looks very nice. This is probably one of the best pre-markets we've seen out of this one in a long, long time. So looking pretty good this morning. Here's Space down 21%. Also a big gap this morning. 1.8 million shares traded. Man, this thing was at 60. Yeah, 60. Now hanging around 14 bucks.
They had earnings, much wider loss than anticipated. There's some questions about when their ship will go up the next time, so they're getting smacked there.
Yeah, that's a pretty bad drop here, guys. And you can see here we're losing some key levels on our daily here. This 20 level seemed to be a great area of resistance, with some support for some time. We lost some key levels before in the past at 25, so this thing just continues to drop, not really finding a bottom. Clearly extended towards the downside over the last couple of months, but again, we'll have to see. Definitely in play, guys. Great volume. If anybody has been holding this, they're surely losing some hope at this point. I hope so, because again, just tanking. So Space is good, guys. NNOX, this one also down 18%, 444,000 shares traded. I'm not sure if, no, I might be confusing this with NVAX. So this one, I'm not sure how it trades. Right now volume looks good, pre-market looks decent as well. Maybe a possible, I really like these up here. Oops, hold on. If that does happen to you guys, come in here, right click and do user define. That's gonna user define list. It'll bring it back to the way you had it, because it could be a pain, especially if you set up your list the way we do, right? What we like possibles, and then the most riskier stocks at the bottom. So again, if you look at space, you look at JMIA, you look at VUZI, these have a good pre-market action. They look very good. What's one we're just looking at here? Lucid NNOX. Again,
it was earnings this morning on NNOX.
All right, perfect. We'll put it as a, again, down 18%. We'll put it as a possible for now. This list is hopping around quite a bit. We got some other ones skipping the line. LOTZ is on here. This doesn't look too good right now, pre-market wise. Daily also not great as far as volume. Doesn't have a great daily, guys. Very, very choppy. You can see here, was it a SPAC or what the hell happened with this one? But something happened this year. We're starting to get active. But for the most part, again, just overall, not a great stock. So I'm not even going to add this as a possible. We'll skip on this one. Here's Mara. So Mara is down 18%. Oh, let's just do that again. Just once. There we go. Down 80%. Great pre-market action. It is on short selling restrictions this morning. Lost this great level of support here, guys, at 28. So I do like Mara. So we'll keep one eye on the Bitcoin type play here. That'll be on there. Let's head on down. PSFE. This is not looking good. I do not like the daily on this one. Right now, it is down 17.6. I think we can find some better stuff to look at, right? Some of the ones we want to take a look at, obviously Apple. On a market like this, look at Apple, 2.4 million shares traded. You want to have an eye on something like that. So let me just add it there now. This looks good. Great pre-market action, and obviously taking a hit as well with everything else, right? So Apple we want to look at. I'm going to stop here, whatever's gapping up. I'm going to go down and just look at some of the ones that we like to trade that we know can trade very well, right? Workhorse is one that can trade very clean. Right now, they're down 13.8, 636,000 shares traded. This can be a good possible one. Heading down a little bit more, looking for some names that we know. INO here, this one is down 11%, 237. Not great pre-market action, though, at the moment. Look at this thing just gapping down a bit more here once again. Not great right now. CAN is another one that we traded in the past. Doesn't look good at the moment. Volume is very light. Plug is good. We traded some in the past. Great pre-market activity right now, guys. Great volume, 1.6. That's what you want to see in this type of market. So I'm going to add Plug. Actually, Plug could be in our main list, really. Just put one there for the EV type battery play. VXRT, this one. This is the one that took off, right, and came back down here. On the fence on that. It was a pharmaceutical company, I remember. I think they had some kind of pill for some kind of trial for vaccine, but again, just not sure about that one. POTR, I see a lot of you guys throwing this one out there. Yes, POTR is good, guys. I mean, again, it could be a hit or miss, but it can be a great possible today. We'll throw that on there. And I think I might just stop here. Let me see any other names that we want to keep an eye on. What's going on with Snap? Snap is snapping down 6.5. Yeah, let's stop here. Guys, the list is just a mile long. Norm, what do you like this morning that might be sticking out above
Neo's looking pretty good this morning, and it's not my favorite one. I rarely ever bring it up, but it's looking pretty decent this morning. I know some people in the room have been short it for a while now.
Nice. Yeah, Neo very active. 5 million. That's the most I've seen on Neo, I think, in the pre-market in a very long time.
It's been a while.
Yeah, so that's good action there. Great pre-market action as well. Down 10%. Neo is good. Yeah, we're gonna keep that one on there. All right, let's go over to our chat, starting with our members here. Guys, what do you like this morning? Daniel, you're giving us American Airlines. American Airlines yesterday, I didn't have it on the list, but I kind of looked into it to see what the airlines were doing. Aside from all the madness, this didn't move a whole lot, guys. I mean, this just chopped around. So that's interesting that it was able to hold even as the market is kind of dropping here in the tech sector and all of that. And if you look at the dailies, holding this 21.15 at least for now, right? We did have a down, we did gap down today, but this could be interesting. Maybe not today. But in the next coming days, if we can hold here, if we get a market bounce, I wonder if will get the strength to break out of this 22 and 22.50 here. So just interesting that they're not dropping as much as some of these other names are, right? So again, I don't think they are in play this morning. Possible. We'll take a look at it in a second here. Heading down, yes, the daily Daniel looks very good. I agree. Neo, we have on deck Roku by Alfredo. Let's take a look here. What do we have? Roku, they're down 5.8, 90,000 shares traded. Again, I think they're looking good. I think there might be something better based on what we have here, like an Apple, like a Plug, like a Neo, right? These things are on fire right now with their volume. Although Roku at 90,000 already in the pre-market is is pretty interesting. So we'll keep it on there as a possible for now. Twitter, we just looked at Snap and not much was happening there. Twitter is down 5.6 right now. Pretty similar daily to what Snap is going through at the moment. Maybe a possible. I know Twitter can really move if we get the volume. It can trade very well. OCGN has been interesting for a couple of weeks, right? We've been watching this for some time now. As you can see on the daily, doesn't do justice to the intraday trade that we've seen out of this one. Has been pretty good. Yesterday actually did very well, given the fact that everything else was selling off. Did take off here nicely. Just hard to believe this pop here, but it did do that. Today, down 7.8, 1.3 million shares traded. Yes, I do like OCG, and maybe not as a possible today. We'll see. We'll put it on here, and we'll see how we can fine tune this list. All right, Twitter, we looked at, we have OCGN is good. PTIX for fun. So is it a low float? PTIX. What do we have here? PTIX. Okay, can type today. PTIX. There we go.
It's like Brian's already in the room when somebody throws something out for fun.
Yeah, right. PTIX, this one at 16.5, up 1.4. It looks like a nice pop yesterday. How did that trade? Oh, this is madness here, guys. Look at the couple of holds. I'm assuming that's what happened here. This doesn't look all that good, guys. So be careful. Not saying that it cannot trade very well. Just be careful if you're going to be trading this one. PTIX, just for fun, is correct at a 7.1 million shares flow. So careful with that one. I don't like it as much right now to be the low flow of the day. But we don't have any other low flows I would think we looked at. So let's put this one on there now. AMD, let's take a look at AMD this morning. Yeah, AMD, Apple, all these tech companies are taking a hit. I like Apple today, guys. I love their volume right now. So I'm going to be watching that one. But you cannot go wrong if you want to add AMD, instead of Apple. All of these are definitely, again, obviously moving with the Q. So in some kind of play today, depending how things are going to be. Either way, they're going to be good. If the market continues to drop, they're going to move with the market. If we get a nice pop and some kind of strength, they're going to move well also. So just watch your favorite tech company. I'm sure NVIDIA is probably in the same boat as well. Not as much volume on this one, but you can see this one is also down quite a bit here. So just watch your favorite one on there. Okay, when we look at Coin and Tesla, let's look at Coin. Absolutely. Coin, again, this thing, guys, is very, very difficult to intraday trade. So I'll be just careful with this one. The spread can be nasty at times. The volume is can be not there. I mean, we've seen it trade very light on volume. So I don't think it makes a good intraday trading stock just yet. Can it get better later? Yes, but I don't think it's a real good one, especially on a day like today. You're going to have so many things moving well, like Tesla. Tesla is definitely the Neos of the world are doing some pretty good pre-market action. This is what you want to watch today. And again, today's going to be a day, Jared mentioned this quite a bit, where you really have to be patient and you have to believe that we can drop lower and that we can bounce. You got to be very, very neutral when that bell rings, guys, right? Because we'll just have to see what the market wants to do and where it's going to drag some of these stocks. A lot of these stocks here do not have their own independent catalyst, right? So they're just moving with the overall market. So keep that in mind, right? Don't be stubborn trying to push something in one direction when the market's saying, hey, this is the way I'm going, whether you like it or not. So just be very, very patient today. Again, your bias has to be to the side completely. Let's take a look at X here from Franco. X this morning. X been trading so well. I want to add it on my list. I really do. Yesterday did very well also, guys. Just look how great. And I took the levels off just now, but it did play along with the levels that we had here. The pre-market high, the daily we had over here, very, very good. So yeah, I'm excited about X. I think is a good one to watch as well. All right, I'm going to stop here, guys, because we just have way, way too many. Your list could look completely different than mine, than Norm's, than Peter's, and Andrew's, and you can still have an amazing list. So it's going to be one of those days.
We've got an all-you-can-eat buffet this morning, essentially. We just pick something, you can probably trade it.
Absolutely, and every station is packed with some pretty good stuff, so you can't go wrong whatever station you pull into on our buffet this morning. Here, guys, over on YouTube, you guys are throwing out the same thing. PLTR, NEO, PLTR again, AMC. What AMC did yesterday? AMC here. Let's just take a quick look on this one. AMC right now. Yeah, it did. They give nice breakout. Look, oh, this is not a breakout. This is after hours. But I know Andrew. I think Andrew traded this one. Someone took a trade in this one yesterday and did all right. I can't remember who it was. But either way, look at the breakout here on after hours. Definitely got going. it could be interesting. They're up 2%, 1.6 million shares traded. We'll have to see. They're green, actually. They're up 2.2. They should be, oh yeah, here it is. They should be coming up in our gappers list. So we'll add it on here. Let's see what AMC can do here, being green amongst everything in this sea of red right now. All right, NEO is good. We have that on deck. TRY, let's see, TRY for the most part, not doing a whole lot right now, guys. I think I just don't see anything great on this one compared to everything else that we have on deck. So on the side for now. DDD is on here. Tesla is on here. Tesla China factory. Yeah, they do have their own catalyst. That's great. That's good for Tesla. We have it on here. Did I put Tesla on here? Actually, I have
yeah, they're definitely in play.
Yeah, they're definitely in play. So again, we looked at Tesla, guys. It is definitely in play. I have NEO. I'm gonna keep that one because I like the way it looks this morning. But you can't go wrong with Tesla, which I just can add everything that is in play here today. It's just too many. So good stuff, guys. Good list. And over on TradingView, we are watching TradingView. I don't see no tickers on TradingView, but thank you guys for tuning in over on TradingView. Highly appreciate that. All right, guys, let's get to it. Let's go to community events, and then we'll come back and fine tune this list.
All right, tonight, big webinar by Andrew. Andrew's going to be essentially detailing his entire trading style, setup, and all that. So catch that tonight, 8 p.m. in the webinar room. Looking forward to it. And then you got to show up because he's going to be sad if he gets less people than Thor. All right. And then tomorrow night, 8 p.m. Eastern, you're going to have Mike talking about handling the emotions of trading. Definitely very, very important subject. And then Nada, our mindfulness expert, next week at 8 p.m. on Wednesday is going to be talking about letting the storms of emotions pass without drowning you. Once again, back to emotions in trading, which definitely is an important subject to discuss. If you're looking to participate in the member trade of the day, trade of the week, take a screenshot of your best trade of the day, mark it up with entries and exits, of course, and then it should also have commentary on why you took the trade. Post it on Twitter, tag at Bearable Traders, at Bearable Traders, at Mike B_BBT, and at NormBBT. Also use the hashtags BBT Family, Day Trading, and Stock Market. We will search through those and choose the winner of the day, which will be posted on Twitter. And then also, we will take all the trades of the day and announce trade of the week on Monday on Twitter as well. If you're looking to try out the chat room, you haven't been in here, use the promo code PREMARKET24. That'll get you a discount off the trial membership. That is 7 calendar days, 5 trading days in the room. Does not auto renew or turn into any other kind of membership. Also, if you're looking to join, you can use the promo code Memorial40 to get 40% off the Elite annual membership.
All right, thank you, Norm, for that. Guys, let's get to it. Let's fine tune this list as best as possible, starting with VUZE. This one, it's okay. It has potential. It is down 22%. So I do like the drop here. Hold on, I'm gonna get the right daily for you guys. There it is. So I do like the drop here on VCUE. We do have a VCUI, excuse me, and we do have a short on it. So this is good. I'll leave it on there. JMIA also very good this morning. Space is interesting, man. This thing is down 18%. And again, we're just hanging out at 60 bucks just about 2.5 months ago, maybe 3. And now at 14 bucks. So interesting to see what happens there. Mara is the Bitcoin play I'm going to be looking at. I do like Apple, of course. I have Plug, I have Neo. Let me see, which one should I take off from here? As great as OCGN has been, this might be the one I moved down today. This might be the one I moved down as a possible today. Again, it's going to be insane today with what's going to be trading good, what's going to be trading bad. We'll have to see 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. So I have too many. But maybe we'll start early before 9. Maybe we'll do levels for all of these here, and then I'll fine tune this list a little bit later. On the possible end, we have OCGN, we have Roku here at 97,000 shares traded. And NOX also looks good. Workhorse, PLTR, American Airlines is interesting on the daily. Twitter Oh, we do have AMC. All right, so I just gotta fine tune this, guys. We can't watch all these stocks here. So let's get picky. Let's get picky. PLTR, I'm gonna remove here. Although they have 12 million shares traded, we know how choppy these guys can be. So I'm gonna remove them. No, that's a lot of volume, actually. I don't want to remove them. That's a lot of volume. Let's keep them on here. I'd rather remove AMC. Let's get AMC. Let's get rid of that. Twitter is okay, but I'm gonna remove Twitter. Yeah, it's too much volume on PLTR to remove. That's 12 million shares in the pre-market. I know they can be a pain sometimes, but you got to keep that on deck. American Airlines, I do like the daily, guys, on American Airlines. I'm just concerned that we might not see something great out of this one, and I know Thor already put his watch list out. He's watching it, so I'm gonna be looking for. Actually, no, he's watching the cruise lines. But I'm gonna hope that some of you guys watch this one, and you can call it out if you see something great. But I gotta fine tune it for my list at least. PLTR is good. Workhorse is decent. Do we have shorts for short? Yes, we do. NNOX is okay. Roku is good, and OCGN is good. All right, that looks a little bit better. And then fine tune our main list. VUZI. This one I'm gonna move down. I'm gonna move this one down because yes, I love the drop. It is leading our gapping down list here as well. Let me move this up. You guys can see actually JMIA taking over that spot, but VUZI, it could be interesting. We'll put it down here. Doesn't have the best pre-market action out of the other ones that we have up here, so gonna just be picky and move that down. All right, we'll stay with this. JMIA looks good. Nice gap down. Continues to drop here. Space is great, guys, at $14. Just incredible. Mara is good as be the Bitcoin play for today. Apple is decent. Great volume, 2.8 million. Plug is looking very nice this morning, getting a little bit of a bounce. Neo looking good, guys, 5.5 million, the most volume we've seen in a long time. And aside from that, aside from everything dropping and whatever has been happening, look at Neo's daily. Look how great this is. We lost this amazing level of support that we had in March, April, early May, and we're just dropping below that now. And we even lost this little small area of support right on here. Not as big as the 34, right? 34 has been a major level of support. This one's a minor one. We only bounce here from one day. We're below that as well, that 31.97. So I do like Neo a lot this morning. And here's X. I'm keeping X because it's been trading so well the last couple of days. It's really back in play. 641,000 shares traded, down 2%. So all right, that is what we have. Let's do levels now. Let's go in here, guys. JMIA this morning, doing a nice little base here at a 1784, right? The pre-market is a little bit lower than that. I'm only marking down 1784 because, again, just look at the touches here, here, and here. You got a lot more touches happening at 1784. So I want to keep that as the main level of support that you're getting. Keep in mind 1770, but 1784 is really where it's at for JMIA this morning. High of the pre-market 2229. We'll throw a level there, and then we'll go into the left here all the way back to October, November, December timeframe. So zooming into this area here, we do have a nice level here at 2030. That's a good one there. Great area of resistance and support. These two don't quite get to it. They're a little bit lower, so I do want to count on these here at 1956. We got a nice double top here, area of support before the drop, and then you come over to break that resistance, and then we get this beautiful continuation that turns into this beautiful run here on JMIA. So looking good there, guys. Below the price action at 1794, we do have this drop over here, a couple of touches right around here. Yeah, this is great support. 1526. I know it's a little bit far down from the price action now, but if you look at 1526, look at the area of resistance right on there. Great support coming here as well, and then more resistance in this area also at that 1526 for JMIA. So looking good. Zooming into our price action today, you can see some of the levels that we put here going back, that 1956, that 2030, also playing nicely here with JMIA this morning. Here's space right now. Again, I just can't believe I haven't looked at them we looked at them before, but I haven't even realized we're at 1450. So right now, high of the pre-market 1620 for SB space here. Towards the bottom, low of the pre-market 1393, but you do have an area here in the pre-market that is showing some kind of resistance in the last couple of 2 hours or so, between 6:30 and now. So you can see right on there across the board, nice area resistance, continues to just slam down here, and here. So you want to mark that there. That is going to be that 1469 level there. Here is actually how we doing on levels. So it's the top, previous day close. highs and lows from the last 2 trading days. Let's get something towards the bottom though of this 1393. Oh man, this is a good level. Hold on a second. Let's get in here. Let's see. Do we have anything before this? We do. All right, so if you look at this 1393, this is a major area of support where the price action is at now. We have not been down here in a very, very long time. April of what is this, 2020? So if we were to break that, let's find another level below that. That is going to be here, this 1214, and then down here this 941. So let's see what happens. Again, guys, we have not been down here in a very long time. This could be a great area of support, these two levels. Let's see if we can stay above that, even if the market decides to tank here. Here is Mara, guys, our Bitcoin play of the day, down 15.6. Low of the pre-market 22.15, high of the pre-market 26.31. Above this, you pretty much cover, guys, highs and lows from the last 2 trading days all the way up here. If we scroll to the left, let's find some levels towards the bottom. We're going into early 2021, early this year. Down here we do have obviously a great level of support right in here, guys. Oops, chart moved on me. They're around 17-15 or so. That is a major one, right? You got resistance and you got support happening here as well. Now in between here, again, you don't have anything pretty much clean in this area. It's really all over the place. We'll do our best to find maybe an area that has a lot of touches. I think this one, 1966, could be a good one. You got some days opening and closing right on here, some good resistance right on there as well, and then the nice little breakout there, so that looks good. 1960 could be a good level there for us on Mara if we do decide to break towards the bottom. Now towards the top, this is a big drop today, guys. Now 15.6. You are seeing some kind of resistance right on here right now around 23.58. So I'm going to mark that there. We struggled a little bit there trying to get above that, and you can see right now we're kind of battling here as well once again at that 23.58. So we'll see what happens there. All right, aside from that, guys, we're looking good there. Heading down to Apple this morning. Apple is definitely one of my favorite ones because we are just getting crushed today on the Qs, and we can see Apple just dropping down nicely this morning, down to 3%. Right here, guys, low of the pre-market. That's just okay. I thought it was going crazy. Yeah, this just happened. All right, so somebody's just dropping a couple of orders there. Thor, stop messing with me, please. Dropping 2.5 million shares there. 122.92 is the low of the pre-market there. Towards the bottom, we do have again, it's a little choppy here, but you could tell here. You could tell this area, this 119.93 right in here, guys. You could tell a couple of wicks just bouncing off of that. So that 119.93. The other level is going to be this one down here, 116.17. Let's throw a level there as well. And then towards the top, guys, highs and lows from the last 2 trading days. So in here it gets very choppy. This is a big drop though, 123 to 119. You might find something in here. Again, I won't put a lot of weight on this level, this 121, but if you look closely, there is a lot of days opening, closing right around that area. There are wicks bouncing off of that, but it is not going to be a 119.93, right? This is clearly an amazing level there. You see every time it goes below that, it finds a way to get back up here. It's done it here, it's done it over here a couple of times. So that 119.93 is pretty good there as well. Heading down, we have Plug, guys. Did we finish on Apple? Yes, we're pretty good on Apple here. Heading down, we do have Plug, another one that has a great pre-market action. Stuff getting a little bit of a bounce right now. 1738 is the low of the pre-market here. Towards the top, the area of resistance going to be the high of the pre-market, which is slightly below the low of the previous day close over at 1984. If we scroll down here to the left, what's the last time we've been below this 1738 is going to be back in November, October. So very clean level here, guys, at 1411. Again, I don't think we'll drop here. We've been dropping quite a bit, so a little bit extended towards the downside, but here if we put a level right over here, 1594, that could be a good one. It is not going to be a 1411, right? 1411, you can see tons of resistance over here, tons of support, but that's a midpoint where you got a couple of touches there. Again, just more of a minor level of support if we were to drop down there. Getting back to our daily, everything else looks good, guys. You're pretty much covered with the highs and lows above you and the previous day close. Here is NEO, 5.8 million shares traded. We haven't seen that much volume in NEO in the pre-market, at least I cannot remember, in a very, very long time. Low of the pre-market, 30.52. We have this 31.97. Where's this coming from? Oh yeah, we talked about this earlier. We had a huge bounce. Look at this day here. Just opened up here, completely sold off. What's that, about $8 or so, maybe $10, and then shot right back up. So minor area support, not major like this 34, 33, this previous day close. This one here is amazing level of support. So we'll see what happens there. The high of the pre-market, a little bit lower than that, 33.75. We'll throw a level there, but that previous day close is where it's at for sure. Now, towards the bottom, guys, if we were to come back down here, we're getting a little bit of a bounce on things. Let's just look at the SPY real quickly. The SPY is not bouncing much, though. Let's see the Qs. Are we getting a little bounce on the Qs? Yeah, these are not bouncing much. I'm not sure what's going on, but Neo is giving you a little bit of a bounce. Apple gave you not much. There's another one here. Mara gave you a little bit of bounce. Space, okay, and that's about it. So let's see what Neo's trying to do here, giving you a little bit of a bounce. But if we were to come back down to 30.52 and break below that, we're going back to October, November time frame. We do got a couple of levels here. We have this one here over at a 25.97. We have another one right over here as well at 28.31. You can see the area support and resistance coming in here before we had the nice little breakout on Neo. Here is X. X has been great, guys. Again, doesn't have the best pre-market activity this morning, but they do have, actually it's not that bad. It's not that bad. It's dropping pretty good. But they do have an amazing track record in the last couple of weeks. Really in their intraday has been really clean. So 26.63, the low of the pre-market. And once you put that level there, you're pretty much covered with the highs and lows from the last 2 trading days. I don't think you need to add any more on here, right? So here's your price action. You're covered all around here pretty good right now. So don't add anything else. You do not need to complicate this more than what it is already. Maybe here 24.80. Maybe 24.80 just in case we do get an amazing drop. But for the most part, that is perfect. And just look at the volume you're getting on X. You're getting amazing volume, above 20 million shares every day and moving well. So let's hope that continues for us on X. All right, perfect, guys. That is what we have. 9:12, so we're doing very good on time. Let's see what our moderators have this morning. Looking forward to see what's on their list, because your list could be completely different today. There's so much stuff going on this morning that you can watch almost anything at this point. All right, let's bring this over to get our visuals in here, and we are going to start with Thor. Yeah, Thor was the first one. So Thor's watching the cruise line, NCLH, CCL, also Plug, SPY, Neo, and Apple. Some really good watch list there. John is looking at Coin, Piton, and BNTX. Dima is looking at Neo, Apple, Space, and also Plug. Peter is looking at, well, it's not looking at, these are IPOs. IPOs for today, FLGC, RNAX, AZ, excuse me. Jerry's looking at Tesla, AMD. He's looking at Coin, and also some sectors in here as well. Mike is looking at BNTX and Apple this morning for the break of high scanners. Tiffany is looking at Tesla, PLTR, and Mara. And Peter is looking at Apple, AMD, Tesla, secondary list, Neo, Space, X, and PLTR. So again, just overall different lists slightly from everyone there. But again, it's just so much to watch. You can be very picky today. You can pick things based on your past performance and history on that stock. If you traded it well, if you trade Neo, if you trade Tesla better than Neo, you could look at Tesla today. It's looking very good. It is in play. So be picky today. Be picky on what you're good at and what you're going to watch. Tesla getting a little bit of a bounce here. So is Neo as well this morning, and also great volume on both of these. So excellent. Looking forward to an amazing start. The key thing today, guys, we're going to keep repeating it because we want you guys to be prepared. But before we do that, Brian is coming in with his list: DDD, PLTR, JMIA, and also Piton this morning. So 4 stocks just for Brian today. Very fine-tuned list there. So as I was saying, guys, today is going to be a day where you want to just be patient. You cannot have a bias today. You cannot say, hey, the market is overextended, we're going to get a bounce, or hey, this is the drop we've been looking for, we're going to drop down to 405, this moving average. Just watch and see what the market is telling you. Don't tell the market what you want it to do. Just look at it, see what it's doing, and then react to what's happening, right? So very, very important. So remember, the market we mentioned earlier, the market is not your friend. So right, this is not your friend where you are going to hold on to dear life and your friend is going to come back and do what you want it to do. So be very, very cautious when it comes to that. With that said, guys, thank you so much for joining us over on YouTube. Make sure you hit that thumbs up. Over also on TradingView, we appreciate you guys being with us this morning. We continue here in our chat room with our members, going over, getting ready for the market open. Brian is up next. Andrew's up next. They'll be doing their trading. Eamon is coming in with his list. He is watching IPOE, OCGN, INTC, secondary list, American Airlines, NNOX, and also Piton. So a pretty good list there. I'm glad he's watching American Airlines because that could be interesting today. I don't have it on my list, but I'm glad he's watching that this morning because he'll call it off if he sees something great. So guys, if you see something, say something, but at the same time, be professional about it. Don't jump into stocks just because someone threw something out there. Tune into the stock, see what's happening, and see if it matches your trade book. Then take the trade. Right? You don't want to be hopping around and taking trades just because. So with that said, guys, thank you so much for joining us over in TradingView and also on YouTube. Reminder, tonight we have Andrew with his webinar coming to his trading room talking about the three pillars of trading that for him personally has done great for his trading. So definitely do not miss that. And please show up, because if not, we are going to hear it how Thor gets more viewer membership than he does, and we don't want to hear that. You guys know how bad this could be if you guys do not show up tonight. So please show up and do us all a favor here. Let's support Andrew this evening. Just kidding, guys. But guys, take care over on YouTube and TradingView. Have a good one. Hit the thumbs up, and we'll see you tomorrow at 8:30. At 8 a.m. with Jared, engineering the markets. Take care, everyone.